for BC hockey. They can't compete in basketball. They can't compete in football. They can compete in other sports. So whoever's paying you the most, Pops, and now, of course, you got a bad taste in your mouth with FSU and what has transpired. It wasn't because of the ACC, Pops. We know they're not in the Final Fours because Heisman hopeful, their star quarterback got hurt. That's why. If he never got hurt and they were undefeated, they'd be in the Final Four.
Well, at the end of the day, Florida State thought that they were gonna use credibility. You know what I mean? Like Texas did, like Alabama did. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Jeff, we come from the era where this team was the number one ranked team for 10 years straight. Okay? Alabama never achieved that. Texas has never achieved that. And I feel like it's a real disrespect to the Seminoles because they worked their way back to the top. But the worst part for them is that LSU had a bad season. If LSU is competitive, they're much better. You can't deny them. You know what I mean? But you came up with 7,500 excuses. But I understood, and I said this on Twitter the day it was going to happen. I said they're going to do what they did to the Big 12 for the last 5 years. If we don't like your conference, then we're not going to bring you in here. And ACC had the elite pass for years, but since they really went down in the the tiers of things, you know what I mean? Because look, there's 5 schools, and if you're that 5th school on the bottom of the barrel, a lot of times they don't really like that undefeated. They don't care for that undefeated record. And this year, the ACC was the 5th guy in the group this year. It's really not hard to see, even though the Big 12 wasn't a better conference. They were pretty equal in a sense, but the Pac-12 being so good this year, the Pac-12 had, I think, 8 to 9 teams ranked this year. You know what I mean? No other conference had it like that this year. And so pretty much you couldn't play the game with the Pac-12 this year. It didn't matter who the Pac-12 was bringing out for this situation. But all in all, I think that it's a really, really sign of the time. You know what I mean? This is where we're going. And I looked at the Eddie Robinson video from the 80s, and he said that, you know what, if we keep going ahead and keep doing all this stuff, then it ain't gonna make no sense no more. It's gonna end. It's gonna be over with.
Pops,
Okay, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got you. Just let me give my 30 seconds real quick. And he says that, that this thing is going to be, this is going to be something that is going to really be terrible for college football. And he said this was because the TV deals and, it's taken away from the local scene of the sport. Come on, Jeff, you're going to Boston College games. These are big time situations for the whole area that you live in. And then they're going to start bastardizing this situation because everybody wants to get a check. This is student athlete. Let's remember what we are here. Everybody's not going to the NFL. Everybody's not going to the NBA. You play for the love of the game, and it's that simple.
It was a flawed system from day one because it's the Power 5 conferences, and there was only 4 spots, okay? And no disrespect to Florida State. I don't see Bobby Bowden. I don't see Jameis Winston. I don't see Charlie Ward. Okay, my point is this. Ask yourself this question, Pops. If Clemson and Dabo Swinney were undefeated, would Dabo and an undefeated Clemson team be in the Final Four? My answer is yes. Why? Because of Dabo, because of the brand. Okay? Unfortunately, us growing up in the 80s and 90s, and as you said, what Florida State did with Bobby Bowden will never be matched or duplicated. They would have been in the championship. The fact is that Florida State and their brand in the ACC, quote unquote, was down. And I'm going to parlay this, Pops. You said the LSU team had a down year. The LSU team also had the Heisman Trophy winner. Okay, so as much as they had those 3 losses, one of them to Florida State, one at Mississippi, where they got outscored 55-49, or the fact that they were tied and down by one possession to Alabama, and Jaden Daniels got hurt, and then they lose to Alabama. So that they didn't get enough respect beating LSU the first game of the year. And it came down to style points and the fact that their second and third string quarterbacks struggled against Louisville, struggled the week before. Unfortunately, that's why they were outside looking in.
Right, and I understand that part. That's all good and well that they did that, and that's how they made their decision. But you know what? The committee's a fraud, bro. Let's just keep it real. You're not doing anything over there but just selecting what the TV people told you to do. They called it in and said that these are the 4 that we're going to put in here, okay? And so don't make anything of it. Let's just go ahead and roll with it, because you know what? At the end of the day, the people in America are going to be mad for 2 days, but then they'll realize that, you know what? This is the right thing to do. It starts in the boxing, bro. Like, that's how boxing works. You know what I mean? We're going to match make who we want in here because we need the views. We need the ratings.
Well, if we're going to play the poor pity card here, the real team that got screwed in all of this is Georgia. Two-time defending champs, winners of 29 in a row, and lose the SEC championship by a field goal. That's the team that got screwed here.
Right, because at the end of the day, we all sit up in here looking at Alabama and say, why the hell are you here? I know you beat Georgia. Good for you. But come on, dog. You guys went life and death with South Florida.
And Auburn. They should have lost Auburn.
And you went life and death with Ole Miss. Come on, dude. At the end of the day, Ole Miss gets beat by 5 teams in all those conferences. They're not that good. At the end of the day, they're just an offensive team with a big mouth coach. Mm-hmm. That's it. And you know what? This is why I feel like at the end of the day, the SEC needs to be penalized a little bit more. Stop playing the Citadel in week 10. That's not fair to everybody else. Everybody else is playing a big-time conference game, and you guys are playing South Savannah State buy-in games.
Well, Pops, they heard you, because I think September 29th, don't quote me on the date, but the 4th week of college football, Alabama won't be playing Texas this year. They'll be playing Georgia. So Alabama, Georgia, the 4th week of 4th Saturday, September.
Right.
So again, they're hearing us. Why are they scheduling it this year? Well, let me tell you why. Because 12 teams make it. So it don't matter if we're 1st, 5th, 9th, or 11th, or 12th. Both those teams are going to probably get it.
And I hope there's no committee telling us who's going to get into the playoff. Seriously.
Well, 13, 14, and 15 are going to be sitting there pissing and moaning.
You know it. I think that you cannot leave out undefeated teams either. It don't matter what fucking conference they played in. You know what I mean? If they're undefeated, they're in. You can't play that game with them. You know, if a Liberty does really well, give them a chance, because you can play them as an outsider. Because I feel like you have to see, they fucked themselves up, Jeff. Because now you got a Power 5 situation, but then you got the non-Power 5 who's going to be like, look, we're good too. Like, you can't leave us out. You going to leave James Madison out? You know what I mean? You're going to leave these teams out because you have this idea that you're going to steamroll them. And James Madison got this idea that they can be Cinderella. They can be the great NCAA story, because now we're taking away from the fun of it, man. This is what I'm talking about.
And you bring up 2 great points, because Liberty and James Madison, outside looking in, we talked about it backstage. You know, a Liberty team undefeated that bounces SMU, who has 2 losses, 2 big losses, meaning they played some real schools here. And no disrespect to Liberty. God bless you guys. But SMU, you and I both know, should be playing on January 1st, not Liberty. That's number 1. James Madison, hats off. Undefeated. They were playing all year. Are they getting in? They getting out? Come on. They deserve to get in. Well, the committee said no, and then they're in a bowl game, 2.5-point favorites to Air Force, who started off great, who finished bad. Well, I just tell you what, my money's already on Air Force against James Madison next week or whenever the hell they're playing.
Right, because who the hell did James Madison really play? That's the biggest question. And, you know, we respect the Sun Belt, but at the end of the day, we know that you can run the Sun Belt if you're a great team. That's, you know what I mean? It's only so they're only separated by so much, and it all comes down to coaching. But let's flip topics and let's go ahead and jump into talking about your UConn Huskies last night getting blown out by Seton Hall 75 to 60. Is this a panic moment or is this just the Big East?
I just say very simply, why doesn't everyone just Google what happened last year? We came in, I think, 9-1 last year to the Big East. We lost 4 of the first 5. Did a show this morning with Julian Edlow from DK Sportsbooks and DraftKings, talked about the same thing. Go back 2 days ago, the Marquette and Shaka School goes to Providence, 5-point favorites. They get blown out. And then for some reason, UConn was opened at 11, closed at 8, played a good first 10 minutes. Seton Hall caught their legs, played a great second half of the first half, and then blew them out in the second half. I think Klingen gets hurt for UConn. They lose by 15. They host Mr. Patino and St. John's on Saturday. Big East, you know this. I know this. You defend home court and you go on the road. If you get 50% of your games on the road, God bless you. So I expect the same things. This is Marquette. This is UConn. For some reason, they had Creighton in that list. Home, 9-point favorites against Villanova without Justin Moore. They lose. Creighton's frauds. I liked Villanova as the dark horse and the sleeper. I think UConn and Marquette are the cream of the crop. You're not going to Providence and beating them many times. So am I panicking? Of course I'm not panicking. I know this, that at the end of the day, whether it's the end of the regular season, whether it's at the Mecca for the Big East tournament, I know UConn will be a 3 or 4 seed. I'm just hoping we get to the Sweet 16 Elite 8, make a trip to the Final Four, and see what happens.
Well, you know, we got this is going to be some great cinema this year in the Big East because you know you still can't go to DC or go to Chicago and think that that's an easy win either. Even though DePaul and Georgetown are in a bad situation right now, they do have good coaches that are about to build these programs back up to where they used to be. And you know what? In about a year or two, the Big 12 is going to be dynamite. I think that we start bringing in the best players in the nation once again because the way that the portal works and the way that the AAU system works is that I feel like a lot of people are going to go to the Big East because the Big East is probably the conference that gets you most prepared for the NBA. You know what I mean? It's not about conferences that just have great names and everything. It's about conferences that get you prepared for the NBA. Big 12 is a great conference in general because they have money, but they haven't produced a lot of great NBA guys. Same thing goes with, say, the Big 10 in a sense as well too. But the Big 10 is always going to get in a big crop of guys as well too. So it's a lot to be there, and I'm totally confident in UConn. I think that this was the best wake up call for UConn because this is what UConn needs a lot of times is a wake up call because we know when Hurley's coaching, there's no doubt that he's going to do what he does. You know what I mean? Because he's that great of a coach. Now, his brother Bobby, on the other hand, I think Bobby's getting bored in the desert because that last night was atrocious, losing by the way that they did in Phoenix, the way that they did. And Northwestern is a middling Big Ten team. But pretty much they told us last night ASU is a bottom barrel Pac-12 team this year. And I don't know if I'm the ASU athletic director that I'm rolling into the Big 12 with Bobby Hurley. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't know if I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that I think that we need a fresh start. You know, if he's looking at ASU, I hate to say that about Bobby, who worked his way into that situation, but I thought it was too much too soon anyway, because he was coming from Buffalo, coming out to the West Coast. I would have thought that he would have played it smart, possibly went over to a school in the AAC or something of that nature, build them up, and then go to the big time. And I thought that he was a Big Ten coach all day, every day. But him accepting the ASU job so soon, he missed out on St. John's. And I think that's just critical. And he missed out on Seton Hall as well, too. He could have stayed a couple years at Buffalo, and he could have got the real job. I think that he jumped into the ASU thing with a real man. He just chased the money. Let's just keep it real. You know what I mean? Because Bobby about that money. Bobby was in horses before he came to coach college basketball, so he's about that money. But all in all, the Huskies have shown us that they are a team that we have to reckon with. The way that they blew away teams in the non-conference that were big time because they played against great teams. They didn't play against the New Hampshires and the St. Mary's, St. Joe's situations. They played against Gonzaga. You know what I mean? They played against teams that are building for the Final Four. You know what I mean? And they absolutely eviscerated them. But I don't know about this team in the tournament this year, Jeff. I just don't know. You know what I mean?
Well,
We'll see.
well, you talked about the Big 12. UConn's only loss before last night was by 4 points where? At Kansas, who was
Right.
one of the preseason top teams. UConn don't also has now the bullseye on the back. They're the defending champs. Now they lose Sonogo, they lost Jordan Hawkins, and the Cam Spencer kid. I'm not calling him a sniper like Hawkins was, but the Cam Spencer kid can shoot the three with the best of them. Had an off night last night. He leads the Big East in 3 points efficiency. They'll be fine. They're still not 100%. They're working some players coming off injury into the system. They'll be fine. And getting to Bobby Hurley, I think Bobby Hurley grabbed the bag, got to ASU. As you said, he should have went to Buffalo, and from Buffalo to like one of those schools like a Dayton or something like that. Make
Right.
that next step there, and then try to proceed to get to Seton Hall. I said he should have followed a Sean Miller path. That's what he should have followed. Sean, played at Pitt. He takes, the right move where Sean's in a right good spot right now. Went to the big time and then struggled. And then now he's right where he belongs. And I think Bobby needs to take a step back from ASU because, yes, they're too Jekyll and Hyde. They'll beat you by 20 or lose by 20. It doesn't matter who they're playing.
Right. Well, let's move forward and get into my neck of the woods. UCLA 5-5 to start the season. Can they get back to the team that we've seen the last 3 years? This is a whole brand new group. You know what I mean? This isn't the Lavin boys that he recruited as freshmen who were from California legends in high school and all that other stuff. One thing about Mick Cronin is that he's a great coach. I love Mick. Mick is old school. It's all that. You know what I mean? But you know what? At the end of the day, don't coach so hard. Ease up a bit. You know what I mean? Because you put too much pressure on guys. Bro, we're up 10. What are you still screaming and yelling about? You know what I mean? I know he's coaching, but damn, you're still screaming. Why are you screaming and yelling? There's no reason for that. They're playing great. And what you got to do is you got to be able to channel that a bit. And I think that, and I'm saying this is a West Coast guy, bro. This is how they operate on the West Coast. But you don't have West Coast players. That's the thing. You're dealing with foreigners. You're dealing with transfer portal. You're dealing with guys who've never been in the state of California. You know what I mean? And you're coaching them. You got too much of a mixed bag. Now, if he had a bunch of Cali guys and things like that, I think he could be able to coach like that, where he's intense, and that worked for those guys. It worked immensely for those guys. But I think that the biggest problem was not securing Amari Bailey to stick around. But that's not Amari's fault. Amari's mother, who's a very fine woman, let's not take anything away from her. She's a very beautiful lady. And I think she's a single mother. And she's a part of this whirlwind idea that women have to always be everything now. You know what I mean? Master or none, but I'm going to do everything now. You know what I mean? I'm going to drive a car. I'm going to fix a car. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I want to be his agent. I want to make sure my baby's okay. But your baby wasn't ready for the NBA. But what you did, though, you used credit to get a whole lot of extra shit. You know what I mean? And now we got to pay for it. So you got to force your son to go jump into the NBA draft and be a second rounder with a non-guaranteed contract. If he plays at UCLA for one more season and you get the street agent involved, he's a top 5 pick. Mismanagement of players. And this is kind of giving UCLA a bad look this year because now they're not able to operate the way that they're supposed to because they don't have that go-to guy. And I think that, I love Mick Cronin. I love coaching, but we're in a new era, Jeff. You know that. And I coached for 10 years and I used to coach hard too. But when my guys are up 15, I'm not going to keep screaming and yelling at you, bro. I'm just not. It's pointless. I don't want to lose my voice. What are we going to do to keep adding into the lead? I'll call it a quick timeout. Let's talk a little bit. But if I know I'm up, I'm not going to keep fucking yelling. And I'm not going to keep fucking talking. I'm just going to go ahead and let the game flow on. I've given them everything that they need to do. They're doing a great job. But, we'll see how it goes. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I can go back 2 nights ago to Joe Mazzulla up 17 at Golden State. He kept to the process. Keep shooting the threes, even though we missed 41 of them. And next thing you know, Steph Curry with 5 fouls the whole fourth quarter. Got the ball in his hands, hits a miraculous shot, and they're in OT, and the Celtics lose. So Mick is Mick. He's in a tough spot this year. His Bruins are not at the elite that Arizona is that we talked backstage about. I think the Pac-12's down this year. I think UCLA will be competitive. But it's Arizona's to lose. Colorado will be a tough out in a lot of those spots as well. I think UCLA's Mick's got a tough job ahead of him to try to get into the dance this year. And I've been talking to some people out west saying the same thing. Travis that I have on every Tuesday from WagerWire, UCLA grad. And we were talking about Chip and the football program. And they said, well, what about your basketball program this year? And we talked for a few minutes there. I'm a big Bruin fan. I'm a big Mick fan, just as you are. He knows he's got a young team. And that's the hardest part is when you have a young team versus a veteran team. And you talked about the loss where they could have had a few people stick around. But the stardom was there for 2 years in a row, and it's tough. Hey, I'm going to take the bag. I want to go to the NBA because that was my goal. That was my lifetime goal. That's why Mom suffered, and she made sure I was in AAU. I was in the right hands, and here I am at UCLA. 2 big runs back-to-back years. Let me at least get into the NBA before I might get injured. So they're in a tough spot, Pops. I think they'll be in that second tier behind Arizona. I mean, I don't know how people are going to beat Arizona this year.
Well, everybody, I guess everybody thinks that in a new day and age, Jeff, that woman did not struggle with that kid. She just sees what's going on, and she wants to make sure that her star keeps rising and she can keep dating these celebrities and rappers and entertainers and all this good stuff so she can stay in the fold of this Instagram life. You know what I mean, Jeff? This Instagram, Twitter life of everybody being in your damn business. You know what I mean? So you know how it goes, brother. But we'll move on and let's talk about the Boca Raton Bowl. This is the get your Hawaiian shirts out, hang out. And it used to be a midday game. Now they're trying to play it in the evening. It's hilarious. But real quick, what are your thoughts on this one, Jeff? We don't have to be on this one too long because this is a really irrelevant college bowl game, in my opinion.
Well, the number's dropping like, the opening number was 5.5 for the 57.5. Circa, as we speak, who always listen to our shows, Jeffrey Benson, Derek Stevens, thank you so much. Just dropped it to 2.5. They knew where I was going here. Syracuse could be down to their 3rd or 4th string quarterback. Both 6-6. I grabbed South Florida at plus 5.5, down to 2.5 at Circa, 3 everywhere else. Grab your points for South Florida. Again, they rolled the ball out. We saw what ODU did with Western Kentucky earlier this week. Up 28-0, lose 38-35 in overtime. Total still at 56. They're expecting some points to be scored here. I like USF. Grab their team total over. I think they find a way to win here, Pops.
All right. All right. I'm gonna be real quick here. I love Syracuse to go ahead and take care of their business. I know that they lost their coach because they fired Dino Babbers and all that stuff, but that was overdue. That was due. Dino did not play up to the expectations. I think they sat on him. I think they sat with him about 2 years too long. But you know what? Tommy DeVito came in and helped him out a little bit. Tommy DeVito led the team to the top 10 ranking that nobody talks about, and nobody wants to say anything about that. See, it goes back to the Jake Browning talk I had about guys who actually started college football games and not guys that had moments in college, and then you drafted them in the top 5 because you have this idea that you're going to develop them into Dan Marino and shit. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, just dumb thinking. But I think the Boca Raton Bowl calls for a big Syracuse game. I know that South Florida is really the favorite because they can get everybody and their mama up there to come watch them play because, you know, this is the Tampa school, but still they can get everybody up there to Boca Raton, which is nothing but a 2-hour drive away. So pretty much they're going to be having the loud portion of the crowd. But I think Syracuse, with everything they went through, they played against much tougher all season as well too, and they should go ahead and win this game. If South Florida does win this game, we'll be reminded of how good they were against Alabama, and they just take care of their business against an inferior opponent in Syracuse. So that's how I see it. And I think Syracuse is the winner. And I think that we actually stay under in this game as well, too.
No, I agree. I'm surprised the total still as high as it is. You know, quick math here. First one to 30 wins this game, 30-27 pops.
Sounds good to me. All right. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to talk state of the Lakers. And we'll buzz through some NBA games real quick. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to this week's science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles. Let's get to the state of Lakers real quick. LeBron is out tonight versus the Timberwolves, best record in the Western Conference right now, but they got absolutely starched last night by the Sixers, who Embiid. I took that personal 51 points situation last night to show off that he's the MVP of the league still and all that good stuff. But the Lakers are getting a lot of public attention over them losing the last 4 out of 5 since the cup and everything like that. And you know what? I'm just going to say this right here, right now. You know what? To everybody who's so worried about the Lakers winning a cup and putting up a fucking rafters and shit, shut the fuck up. Seriously, because if your team would have won, you'd have did the same exact shit. Don't bring up Kobe fucking Maymay's talking about, oh, Kobe's disappointed. Kobe ain't fucking disappointed, wouldn't have been disappointed in that, because you know what? At the end of the day, the NBA forced them to do it. So don't play like the NBA didn't have some say in them putting up a fucking banner. Seriously. Because the NBA, you dumb ass couch sitting motherfuckers, The reason why the NBA made them put that shit up is because the NBA is dying to get another TV deal. They are having issues getting this TV deal, and they have to sell everything right now to the public, to these TV companies who do not want to give up $10 billion for the next 7 years to watch a bunch of motherfuckers throw up three-pointers all game long. So, you have to understand exactly how the business works of sports, not your feelings. Get your feelings out of it. It's sports. That's what they're going to do. It's a business. So don't use the Lakers as the sacrificial lambs because you're mad that your sorry ass team couldn't make it to Vegas this year. And you know what? At the end of the day, we know that they're still pissed off that Jeff's team didn't show up the way that they should have, so we could have a Celtics-Lakers situation so it could have really sold. It's hard to sell when the Lakers got to beat the shit out of the Indiana Pacers. You know what I mean? But if we would have had the Lakers Celtics, it could have been a classic game. It could have been a classic moment. We could talk about all the championships. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's a business. And that's what the NBA totally is right now. The NFL can always go back to their tradition and their laurels and all that stuff because they've made it to where their product is like in and out. Now, and the NBA has became more like I would say, what restaurant serves a whole bunch of shit that you don't need, but they started off selling burgers. You know what I mean? That's what it is right now. So that's my point, and that's where I'm at right now. And the Lakers losing 4 out of 5, they always play bad in December. Do y'all know who the Lakers are? Do you really know who they are? Every year we won the three-peat. December was the worst month of the year, Jeff. We always lost the Christmas game. We always lost some games we shouldn't have lost. And this is with Kobe and Shaq, one of the greatest duos of all time. So I ain't worried about it in this sorry-ass NBA about losing 4 out of 5 games because we can go off and win 6 out of 7 next. So it don't matter to me. So, Jeff, you take the floor real quick. What are your thoughts?
I don't know where to start there. Pops, we gift wrapped you the LeBron sweepstakes trophy here. We know this was a big part. Again, the first. Everyone remembers the first, not second, third, fourth. Hang the banner, be proud of it. You guys took care of business. We'll be there on Christmas Day. We'll be celebrating with you. It's supposed to be the NBA day where 5 games are being played and you're the only show in town. Unfortunately, there's 3 NFL games this year, which is comical as we speak. But Celtics will be playing basketball with you guys after we play the Red Hot Clippers, winners of 9 in a row on Saturday. But I just wanted to point this. You're in horses, okay? So when you're getting a horse primed for a big stakes race or one of the big 3, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, or the Belmont, there's a little rest period to get that horse ready for the Breeders' Cup. And so this is exactly what's happening to the Lakers. You got all primed up, you got all jacked up, you got all lathered up, sweated up, and you won the title. Now you lose 4 in a row, and you're just waiting for Christmas Day because in come the Celtics. My gut tells me the Celtics will probably be 4.5-point favorites, somewhere in there, 3-4 point favorites, and there'll be a great fourth quarter, and either the Lakers hit the 3 at the buzzer to win the game, or the Celtics walk off 1 or 2 points, or you blow the Celtics out. That's all. You win the cup.
Get blown out.
No, the Lakers aren't getting blown out. Trust me on this one. There is no way in holy hell the Lakers are getting blown out. The Lakers won the cup, the midseason, whatever we're calling the trophy. They lose 4 in a row. You're waiting for Christmas Day. You beat the Celtics, or you lose in a buzzer beater where LeBron misses a 3. But it is what it's just like horse racing. You got lathered up, you won. Now you take a couple of those games off, you lose a few games, you win, you make a good game on Christmas Day, and we move on.
Well, I think the Lakers tonight, they should be good. No LeBron tonight. So let's see how they do without LeBron, because I actually like us without LeBron sometimes to see exactly who we really are without the dictator of the team. He's not a leader. He's a dictator. Kobe, you know what? At the end of the day, they always call Kobe a dictator, but Kobe was a leader, man. Kobe can go talk to a guy and say, you need to get your shit together. LeBron is the type of guy who's like, yeah, man, cool. You doing good, bro. And then he runs to the coach and says, man, you know what? That motherfucker, I don't know if I want him on the team anymore. No, you talk to your teammate. You let him know what's going on. Like your boy Patrick Mahomes the other day. If you got a problem with Kadarius Toney, you need to go talk to him in his face, bro. Stop throwing helmets on the sideline and all this shit. You know why Brady was the greatest? Because Brady would go cuss you out, bro. He didn't care who you were. You know, I saw him cuss out Moss. I saw him cuss out Welker. I saw him cuss out even Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? So, you know, say it to their face. You know what I mean? This new pussy generation of, you know, I'm having a fit, but I'm not going to go tell the person who I'm having a fit with because you don't want to get punched in the face, maybe. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day, man. But Lakers will be all right. I ain't worried about it, man. They, you know, Skip Bayless and the crew that I never watched. I snuck in this morning a little bit, Jeff, and I just say to myself, you guys don't have any fucking topics, do you? Like, you guys can talk hockey, you can talk baseball, but let's go ahead and talk about the Lakers losing 4 out of 5 in December. That's not news, bro. Come on, move on. Move on, because if you're going to talk about the Lakers losing 4 out of 5, why don't you talk about your boy Wemby losing 18 in a row and looking like a damn giraffe out there, looking silly. Doesn't even know what he's doing out there. You know what I mean? So, hey, it is what it is. I could have talked about that every single day for the last 3 weeks, but it is what it is. Jeff, real quick, what are your thoughts on the Pelicans tonight? 16-12, Cavs 16-12 plus 2.5 point spread over under 228.5. Where are you going with this one?
Well, I had an opening number at Cleveland -1 with a 228. Now New Orleans 3.5 at Circa with a 228. 4 at Superbook and South Point, 3.5 on DraftKings. I'm going to ride the flip here. I'm going to take the Pelicans minus the 3.5. My assumption is who's out on Cleveland. I don't have the injury report in front of me. I'm assuming
Evan Mobley.
Mobley's out there. Yeah, so
6 weeks. Yep.
I'm going to ride the big Z. And we're going to take the Pelicans tonight, Pops.
Yeah, you know what, Zion? I kind of like this new Zion a little bit, man. I know people are getting pissy about it, but I like this slow roll of Zion. Don't do everything so fast. We got time. We got plenty of time with you, brother. You know what I mean? And I think he wants to figure out a way to where he can finish a season because the boy is nice. When he goes 110%, he's top 5. But when he kind of scales it back a little bit and he's letting Brandon Ingram, you know, lather up, do his thing, you know, just like Bob Baffert does with his horses. You know, we got Baffert got nothing but $1 million horses. Well, let's go ahead and let so-and-so get his shine on for a little bit. But when it's time to win the big ones, I got my big horse ready. And that's what they're doing with Zion right now. It's a smart move, in my opinion. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the Magic and the Bucks in a possible playoff matchup as well, too. 20-7 going to get 16-10. I think the spread's a little bit too high at 6.5. Over under 236.5. What are your thoughts on this one, Jeff? Where are you going with this one?
I had an open number of 7.5 with a 239.5 down to 238.5 with 8.5s across the board. I think you nailed it right there. The number's a little too high for Poncho and the boys, and that's what the books wanted. They were trying to get people to bet on the Magic tonight. Well, guess what? The line's going the other way. I lean Bucks here. The Bucks stops here. I think they get it done, and I think the game goes under the right now 238.5. I'm going to take the under with the Bucks tonight.
And I got the under on this one as well too. Man, I think that's the play right there. You don't pick a side, you just let them you just let them figure it out. But I think though, if you're playing a big dog tonight, the Magic could be on your radar. They're plus 295. That is nice. But I think the dog of the day, and I don't have it up here, but I have the Clippers and the Thunder, Jeff. This is probably the best game. And you know what? the Clippers just said, you know what? Thanks for counting us out. But we have 4 Hall of Famers here, bro. We don't have 4 high-end players. These guys are going to the Hall. You know what I mean? Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi, history makers. They're not just regular players. And this has the look of an absolute gem of a title run if they can do this thing right. What are your thoughts on this one?
And again, everyone poo-pooed the trade, and they looked like, excuse my French, ass. They were horrendous, and now all of a sudden, they're 17-10. Take 9 wins off of that, and they were 8-10. Everyone was laughing. It was a great time to buy Clipper stock there. And as we know, it's tough to buy Clipper stock because you got to wait to the playoffs. Is Kawhi playing? Is Paul playing? Now you add the bearded god. Russell, hats off, takes a step back, says, hey, guys, I'll come off the bench. I want to make this work. A very dangerous team right now, never mind the playoffs. But I got to look at the opening number of 4.5, now 5.5. People aren't buying tonight. They think it's the Thunder. And I'm kind of curious here, too. Obviously, the dog play is with the Clippers, the red hot Clippers. But I think Vegas knows something here, and the buck stops here. I think it's going to be the Thunder in the Thunderdome winning by 7 or more tonight, Bubs.
And I think, you know what? Vegas knows that somebody's 50-50 right now, that they're a game time decision. And it's one of the big 4 as well, too. And I don't know if it's going to be Kawhi, Paul. I know it won't be Russ because Russ seems to always be healthy. And then, Harden always has his issues. He might have partied a little bit too hard last night. And you know how it goes. Everybody thinks they're fucking robbing. So you know how it goes, bro. Because these teams don't care no more. Like, oh, if they're going to party, they're going to party. You know what I mean? That's why you ain't got no damn championships. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. See, Rodman was doing this with the team that was the best team in the NBA. He wasn't doing this just to do it. That's the difference. You know what I mean? But all in all, we got to let the man go, the Don of Cape Cod himself. We're going to go to a commercial break. Let me know what we're doing next Tuesday and everything in a bit when you get done with your show. But much love, brother. Don't think that I was being too crazy today. I'm just under a little bit of the weather, the Cali weather. I got to get me some rest. That's why we ain't getting no show tomorrow. So it is what it is. Always love, brother.
Yes, nothing but love. Always blessed, honored to be a part during the holiday season. To all your watchers, listeners, your team, your support. Happy holidays.
Hey, your team is support too. They love you, bro. What are you talking about? It ain't always about me. Stop that. You know what I mean?
There's no I in team, just the I is in family.
Love you more than me.
And what I was going to say about next week is we generally do the NFL Bet Exchange on Tuesday. I'll be heading to Boston to do a live show for the football team before Thursday's game. So I'll reach out to you anyways during the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. See if we can squeeze it in Tuesday morning, late morning, or if we have to push it to Wednesday like this week. But all is well in our world, Pops.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Happy holidays to you. Enjoy your weekend. And, man, you are the absolute best. You guys sign up for the ECSI event, journey. You guys do what you got to do. But I got to let this man get on down the road. And we go to a commercial break. And we'll be right back.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, so here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into your favorite subject, my favorite subject, that is talking tickets. So let's start off first with the Boca Raton bets. And the Boca Raton bets, we have ourselves Syracuse -3. We also have Syracuse money line first half, and we have the under 12.5 team total first quarter. And then we have the alternate line of the -5.5 on Syracuse as well, too. So those are going to be our bets for the Boca Raton Bowl. And then we move into the CBB PrimeTime PK6. This one is going to be a pretty good ticket as well, too. This is actually going to be 65-1. We have the +14 on Louisville. We have the 4.5 on Rhode Island. We also have Iona -110. We have Lamar tonight +17. We have UNLV -4. And then we have Idaho as our CBB dog of the day. They've been playing good basketball under the radar. I like this +220 going into this game tonight. Then we have ourselves the NBA Super High 5 at 31-1. We have the over 228 with the Pelicans and the Cavs, the under 240 with the Bucks and the Magics, but I know that this spread is getting lower. Then we have the +5 with the Clippers tonight to just cover, and then we have the Bulls with the -6 tonight, and then we finish up with the Wizards +145 as our dog of the day. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Now we have ourselves the TNF bets. We got the Saints +4 to cover the spread. Also, we're going to double down and take the Saints to win the game with the +175. Then we have the over 22.5 with the first half, and then the Saints money line +125 first quarter. And then I like the over 50.5 +165 alternate line. So that's going to be our game for tonight in the NFL, and that's going to be a wrap on Talking Tickets. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. You guys are the absolute best. I'm going to wish you a happy holiday today. We are taking tomorrow off because, you know, it's time to go Christmas shopping. You know, you got to take care of your people and everything like that. The ladies is over here. So, you know, we got to go ahead and get all that taken care of tomorrow and everything like that. So everybody can be happy on, what is it, Sunday? So Monday, whatever. But pretty much it is what it is. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. I'll be back at you Monday morning, or actually Tuesday, because it's Christmas Day on Monday. So I'll be back to you guys on Tuesday. We should be having an NFL bet exchange, but it possibly will be on Wednesday, like Jeff said. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on today's show. I'm your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.